Hey everybody, thank you all for joining. This is a quick update on Tesla and the very important day tomorrow, the annual shareholder meeting. The votes should pretty much all be in, I think, as far as I know right now. And I'm going to dig into the probabilities of it being passed or not. I was kind of afraid to do this up until now because I didn't want to detract anybody from voting just in case it was a cliffhanger. But now that the voting's over, we'll just share the data. We'll also look at the new ARK price targets, what's baked into them, how probable they are, and what's missing. Also, I was asking myself this question. Okay, if we take the ARK price targets and the CAGR for those and the ROI for those compared to the price of Tesla today, what type of Bitcoin price would we have to have by 2029 to match the Tesla performance based on ARK's prediction? And by the way, love them or hate them, ARK are the best at modeling this stuff. And they were really good at this in 2018 too. Anyway, let's jump into Tesla's D-Day. And thank you all for being here. Let's go. I hope I didn't miss anything. It's been a long day, hectic day, good day. Oh, by the way, we've got the post-FOMC volatility happening as well right now, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, this is not financial advice. And shout out to Patreon as well and the team behind me. From Mario Bublitz Machado. Hi, everybody. My first time participating as a Patreon from Brazil. Oh, Brazilian. Oi, tá bom, as they say. And we had some good Bitcoin news from Brazil as well, from Itaú Bank. Bitcoin, our Tesla-only playlist will be up here afterwards for those only interested in Tesla stuff. And first of all, let's talk about the comp plan in case you missed it. This is from Sawyer, and I found this very eloquent, and I thought it was worth reiterating again. Imagine someone offers to increase the value of your stock tenfold. In return, they ask for 10% commission, but they only get paid if they succeed. You agree to the deal because it seems almost impossible to achieve, and you see little downside risk. Then again, against all odds, this person achieves what seemed impossible. However, after benefiting from the success and their hard work, you decide that the 10% commission is too much and you refuse to pay. How messed up is that? The answer is very messed up. I think anybody that now is reneging on the commitment to pay the man, as they say, they should sell their Tesla stock, return all the gains that they've made, and go to hell. And I mean that very sincerely. Now, getting back to the vote, we have this is opposite to CalPERS, the California pension system. A bunch of weirdos, if you ask me. And even the members of CalPERS are against CalPERS. Anyhow, Florida's pension board voted in support of Elon Musk's compensation package, saying the plan exhibits very high levels of pay for performance. And they are Tesla's 80th largest shareholder. Okay, we don't need them all. We just need the majority. Also, Brad Gerstner from BG2. He has nearly 600,000 shares, and he voted yes for the pay package. By the way, Brad is probably one of the best capital allocators on the planet. Okay? He understands what it takes to innovate and what it takes to reward the innovators and how few good ones there are on the planet. Brad knows. Okay? Also, this is a cool video somebody shared on Discord earlier today from Joe Bakti. And he basically says it's in the bag. And there's even a chance of the Texas vote going the way of the wishes of the board. What he did was he took the 2018 and the amount of people that voted yes or no versus the institutional. And notice how the retail has gone from 30% to 44% in 2024. And per Elon Musk, 90% of retail investors have already voted in the affirmative, which is good. And institutions, we're not sure exactly, but either way, it's looking pretty good so far. Many people say that as well. In fact, Barron's came out and said the vote for the pay package is down to the wire, but voting against the package would be catastrophic for the stock, which is one of the reasons that no vote isn't likely. I think Gary Black was all in this as well from the Future Fund. He finds it puzzling that some short sellers think institutions who are long Tesla and our active fund managers would vote no on Elon's comp plan, which would almost certainly cause the Tesla stock to fall and hurt their fund's performance. says future fund manager Gary Black. So his fund also holds a bit of Tesla stock. I actually know how many shares too. Interesting. But that is just logic. And it shows you that the world is illogical for us even to be at this stage. But anyway, let's get into more good stuff. ARK came out with some new price targets for Bitcoin, for the Tesla price. I have a long day already. It's only Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. But ARK Invest publishes their new 2029 price target, and you won't believe it, from Mario. But Elon says, yes, it's extremely challenging, but very achievable. But what's really crazy is I dug into the report and all the numbers, and there's a lot of good treasures in there. First of all, let's break down their 2029 price targets and how it works. And I'm sure you've all seen this already, so I won't dwell too much. But Monte Carlo model was used to get to these numbers. But I'm not sure why they left out factoring in Tesla's humanoid robot, because the numbers, maybe because if they did include them, the numbers would just be so unbelievable, it would be hard to understand. And they're effectively running it without that, and also without energy storage, the megapack business. And even Elon Musk himself said energy storage will be bigger than cars. Net, we'll dig into what they have here, and it's nice when somebody puts together a price prediction but leaves out the most valuable part of the price prediction. Like the biggest price driver is left out. And I love that, because that's like sandbagging it to hell, which is awesome. And we like to sandbag here on this channel. But the EV, the expected value, $2,600 using Monte Carlo analysis. Bear, $2,000. Bull, $3,100. Remember, I was buying Tesla yesterday for, I think, $168. If I'm not mistaken, let me check actually. Where is Tesla? Yeah, $168 yesterday on the nose. And good thing it double dipped, because Schwab was down for the first time I tried to fill the trade. Anyway, I felt I could see grumblings happening that, okay, the market's beginning to realize the price is going to be approved. The plan's going to be approved, therefore the price is going to run. And it did just that. But let's talk about some stuff. Before we get back to the price predictions, I'm going to show you the ROIs, the CAGRs, etc. I want to walk through some stuff that is very telling about FSD. I've been an FSD beta user for years now. I have a Model X. I'm blown away by the technology. But they talk about FSD safety first, because that is the most important thing. When you have say a 2-ton vehicle hurtling down the road at 80 miles an hour, 140, 160 kilometers an hour, whatever that is, that's a lethal weapon. So therefore, you've got to really focus on safety first. And Tesla now publish all of their safety data, which cannot be denied. And the ARK research team shows that a Tesla in FSD mode is 5 times safer than a human-driven Tesla, and 16 times safer than the average car on the road. In fact, I've noticed ever since 2020, drivers have gotten a lot worse. I don't know if everybody's tired, everybody's too distracted with devices, everybody's bored, everybody maybe on bad nutrition, but the level of driving skill has really gone in the tank. So FSD, just like robots, could not arrive at a better time. Breaking this down here, though, they have their improved AI training capabilities and extremely fast software updates. I got an update version yesterday just on my car. From a previous version, they fixed a couple of little small things. And therefore, I do fully believe Tesla is on track to demonstrate far superior safety metrics and secure regulatory approval for the Robotaxi network. It's just plain simple. The national average is one crash per 192,000 miles. Waymo, one crash for 476,000 miles. Cruise, one crash every 43,000 miles. Cruise is 4 times worse than the average driver, and the average driver is really bad. Human-driven Tesla, once every 600,000 miles. And FSD, once every 3.2 million miles. That's a lifetime of driving right there. And it's nice, like if you have somebody that needs a little help or a little more safety when they drive, you should stick them behind the wheel of an FSD car, just if you care for their lives. And autonomous miles driven as well, which is helping feed the machine that's making this FSD thing better every single day. the autonomous run rate is now accumulating data at 110 times the rate of Waymo, and it has accumulated over 1.3 billion miles. There is no data set like this on the planet. This is the most advanced mini AGI ever on the planet. People always debate me on that, but it's Elon's words, so I can say mini AGI because he said it, and I trust him more than I trust an armchair critic on YouTube. Now, let's compare FSD from this cool little chart. This is Amazon Zoox, their self-driving autonomous vehicle. As you can see here, it's an 8 by 3 block radius. That's it. That's all they got. And heaven forbid you throw a curveball at this car, it's game over. So again, the rest of the competition with $180,000 worth of gear in the car simply isn't going to scale or fly or ever be profitable. That's just finance and mathematics. And also, ARK came out as well with some good stats. They believe there will be a 50% chance of full Robotaxi commercialization in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 6 months and 2 weeks away. That's not far to 2025. And if 2025 slips, 38% chance in 2026. And after that, it's crumbs. So they are very, very heavily convinced, more than 95% convinced that this thing's going to happen. And we cannot wait for 8/8. That's August 8th, when Tesla will unveil what their Robotaxi Cybercab plans are. And it'll be very exciting. And yeah, I don't think it's going to disappoint, even though the expectations are very high. Let's look at their numbers and break them down. And I want to show you what it means. And again, I've been, just to step out for a second, I've been in Tesla since 2017, bought heavy in 2019. A ton of leaps and synthetic longs when I bought my Tesla X, and I was like, wow, this car is incredible. Blew my mind. And I went in very hard. But that was when the stock price was about $17, $17.50 or so. Because it split, they did a 3-for-1 and a 5-for-1, or a 5-for-1 and a 3-for-1, I can't remember. Anyhow, the point is, I've been in for a long time, and if you asked me in 2017 or 2019 where we are today and the amount that they have achieved and executed, I would not have believed you in a million years. Okay, so they're way further ahead than I ever imagined. And again, I think it was 1,000 days ago, the price was $420. 1,000 days ago. Yesterday, you could buy it for $160. A couple of weeks ago, $140. Last year, $106. And that's what I do. When things get extraordinarily low, I buy and I stack and I'm patient. Done that with Bitcoin and CleanSpark and Solana and Google over the years and Amazon and Apple and Netflix and all these other disruptors. There's not many that come along. But also, I've never, ever, ever in 35 years of doing this, analyzed a company like this. Anyway, this is the scenario here, the Monte Carlo range of possible outcomes. The EV of this is about $2,600. The bull case is about $3,100. By the way, if you take the amount of shares outstanding and multiply that by the price of $3,100, that takes you to a market cap of about 10 trillion, 9.9 trillion approximately. Bear case, $2,000. Not bad. And no autonomy, $350, which is basically, if you look at traditional investments, getting to $350 from a base of 168 in 5 years is still very good, but that's an unlikely, less than 1% chance of it actually happening. Now, I took this data and I took the current price and I calculated the return on your investment and calculated the ROI and the CAGR if we get to these different scenarios. This is what I do for all things to really face off to see how things perform. So the return, expected case return is 24.32. Again, hey Jimmy, thanks for coming. Expected, that's less the actual current price. So that would take us to the $2,600. Then your bear case, again, 2,000. Bull, 2,932. That's where those numbers come from. The return on investment, in percentage terms, expected is 1,447% in 5 years. Bear, 1,090%, and the bear case is still an incredible return. The bull case, 1,745. And the CAGR on these, compound annual growth rate, which is also very important when you're on a long-term asset, 74%, 65%, and 80% for the bull case. So, and then I asked myself, because I know people always ask me all the time, it's like, what should they stack now? Should they be buying Bitcoin or Tesla? What's the better deal? And I said, when Tesla fell to $141 a month or so ago, I said, at this price point, given where things are going to go, I believe that actually, potentially, Tesla is the better investment. It'll outperform. The problem was the timing. It might take a while for the value to be recognized by Wall Street for Tesla. And we're halfway through the bull run for Bitcoin. The question is, and I stay awake at night thinking about this every single night. What is the opportune time to flip, rotate the assets, move out of Bitcoin and MicroStrategy and crypto, and move into Tesla? And I'm already heavy in Tesla anyway, but just want you to know I'm thinking about that. So I calculated the same thing. What would the price have to be for Bitcoin to hit these CAGR amounts? And the answer is as follows. Pretty bonkers. Again, ROI and CAGR is the same based on the Bitcoin price today. Bitcoin, for the expected scenario, would have to go to $1.12 million by 2029. That's higher, way higher than my 2030, 2032 expectation. Bear, 847. 850 is still magical. And bull is 1.3 million. The question is, which will get there first? And I hope I'm around in 2029 to look at these numbers, because I will save everything and I remember everything that I do, especially when it comes to numbers. That's all I remember. And come back to these and see which one is the faster horse. But there's a crazy wild card about this that I'll talk about right now. This model from ARK that we just walked you through, this puppy, it's all Robotaxi. Okay? Robotaxi. There's no Optimus. There's no auto bidder. So I think it's a tiny crumb of megapack business, but it's less than 5%. It's all EV manufacturing, Robotaxi. All right? So they're leaving the biggest enchiladas on the table. And that's the breakdown. It's cars sold, electric vehicle revenue, and autonomous ride-hail revenue. That's it. That drives the model. Okay? This is the Easter egg, as they say. Elon Musk and Optimus, people have no idea. This is going to be bigger than the car. When he says bigger than the car, it's not bigger than a Tesla car. It's bigger than the automotive industry by far. And he also said 2 days ago, playing a video game with his son jumping around his lap, that he believes the price will be $20,000 to $30,000 and every household will want one or have one. I can't remember exactly what it was. So that is crazy. And the Optimus now as well, to put a little point on it, is already doing productive work in factories for Tesla. They deployed 2 Optimus bots performing tasks in the factory autonomously. All right. This is super big, super interesting news. So it's not like it's a dream or a fantasy. It's already happening. And it's not included in this. Okay? So that's what I love. This is the most beautifully sandbagged model. And if you think robotaxis aren't going to happen, well, ARK believe they will. Definitely next year. And if not, it slips, then 2026, which isn't that far away if you are a medium to long-term investor. So that's all the crazy news. Now I'm going to cover some other news and a chart at the end as well. So first of all, if you read mainstream media, you'd swear EVs are dead. All the traditional ICE companies can't make EVs, so they said, screw this, we're just going to go back to our ICE and we're going to put a little tiny battery in it and call it hybrid and hopefully get some tax credits. But the EV story continues. And this is from Bloomberg. And EV sales are headed for another record year, despite record high interest rates, despite recessions in many places. The headlines are to the contrary. But global EV sales continue to grow and are set to rise at least 20% this year. And the combustion vehicle sales peaked in 2017, have no route back to that peak. And if you look at the top country, red, China, blowing up. And what China is like the canary in the mine. It says what's going to happen next. They are the early adopters, and the rest of the world will follow that trajectory, no doubt about it. Also, in China for Tesla, sales are up 30% year over year. There's a 75.73% month-over-month gain. So it looks like the market in April took a poop in China, but then rebounded hard. And there's a 29.89 year-over-year rise, which is very, very good. So they're doing very well in China. And the Model 3, the new Model 3 refresh is just ramping up right now as well. And I shared this in another video on Okta yesterday, but China passenger penetration, passenger vehicle penetration, EV penetration, is now 46 or 47%. It is at a new all-time high. That chart was at 5% a couple of years ago. Now it's nearly half. And then the next 40% will happen in 2 years, 3 years. So by the year 2028, for example, or 2027 in China, maybe 5% of cars will be gasoline, diesel, petrol, whatever you want to call it, wherever part of the world you come from. Now, this is another interesting thing. When you think geopolitics, you've got the world protecting themselves, slamming tariffs. And it's not the car makers that are doing it. Well, maybe in Germany, the traditional car makers are knocking on the door of lawmakers and saying, hey, please protect us from the Chinese EV onslaught because they're going to hammer us and we're not ready for it right now. So let's put tariffs on their vehicles. Same thing with the US, the protectionism, 100% tariffs on EVs. I think you're just prolonging the pain. If you protect a weak business with tariffs artificially, you're just prolonging their death. They're not going to make it, okay? Especially with other groups that are in control of these companies, which I will not talk about. But that is the crazy thing. So the point I'm trying to make here in a long-winded way, it's been a long day already, Tesla is well placed to avoid all tariffs. They can build cars in Europe. They can build in North America. They'll soon be able to build in Mexico, maybe India, maybe Indonesia, maybe who knows where. Also, China. So they're not exposed to the tariffs that other car companies are because they can bypass it. If there's a tariff on Chinese-made vehicles, then Tesla can make them in Europe and vice versa. So let's look at the chart. And this is super interesting. It's not 10,000 days. It's 1,000 days. I did mention 10,000 days. Great album, by the way, a few weeks ago. Everybody picked up on it. But here we are 1,000 days since the last all-time high for Tesla. And we're 132% away from it. All right. This company is a very, very different animal than it was in 2021. All right. Very, very, very different animal. And I hope people realize that. And it's one of those things where markets are irrational, sometimes longer than you can stay liquid. But again, when you invest in disruption, play where the puck is going to be. All the trends, all the indicators are there, all the S-curves, all the disruption, it's all happening. And we are perfectly positioned. Never been more confident. Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed that little update. You've been asking me to say, please give us a Tesla update because we need to know what's going on. So these are part of the new weekly show. Again, playlist will be added later. Actually, it'll pop up in a box here in a minute. So thank you all for coming. Hit the like on the way out. We've got to help people at least get a couple of shares of Tesla. This thing, okay, if their bear case is right, it will probably outperform Bitcoin through the year 2029. And Bitcoin's going to do really well. So it's bonkers to think about. But hey, just numbers. We could all be wrong. Both assets could go to zero. Always be prepared for that. And diversify. Not too much, but a little bit. Thank you all for coming. Have a good day.